Shalom, everybody. So, I want to talk about the Father's 613 laws and commandments and clear the air as to what they mean, who they are for, and hopefully people will start to realize that they are not a burden and they are still very much in effect. Now, the 613 laws are not for everybody. There's different classifications, if you will, for different people, men, women, Levitical priests, farmers. We can't follow all 613 of them because they're not all meant for each individual person. Just like the Messiah couldn't follow all 613 of them because, for instance, the ones for women obviously were not for him because he's not a woman. He was also not a farmer or a Levitical priest. The law even applied to him as it does us. So I'll go through a few of these maybe once a week. There's going to be no schedule, but I hope people will start to realize that they need to change their ways. Stop listening to what the church says. Because the church is going to lead you astray. So I'm going to share my screen here so people can follow along and maybe write these down if they want. Well, that's not going to work. Let me see if I can make this bigger. Let's go. All right, I don't know if everyone's going to be able to see this. Let me see if I can. See if I can fix this here. Oh, until I figure this out, this is what we're going to go with. If you want to write these down, you can obviously pause the video, but I'm going to leave it up for the duration. This isn't going to take that long. I just wanted to start talking about these things. So, number one. Now, these are broken down into categories, and if anybody wants the PDF to this, I will send it to them. They are broken down into categories 1 through 10. They go in correspondence with the 10 Commandments. I don't have the numbers next to them, but I will tell you for these 6, the corresponding number, the corresponding commandment, and then I will start adding them to the notes. So number 1, know there is an Elohim. Know there is a God. And one God, not multiples. There's one Father. So that we find in Exodus 20, verse 2. And I will read these. I'll read 1 and 2. And Elohim spake all these words, saying, I am Yahweh, thy Elohim, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. So, right there, and as we read through Scripture, we know that the Father is the only one that can do this, that can bring us out of bondage. The Messiah, he brings us to the Father through the Father's Word. The Messiah brought the Word when he came in the flesh. He brought the Word to us. And remember, the Messiah taught from the Old Testament, the law and the prophets, because that's all that we had. New Testament wasn't written yet, and there's not a separating, dividing page between the Old and New Testament. That's what man did. Totally different subject. I just want to concentrate on these. So that one corresponds with first commandment. Actually, I believe all of these do. Yes, all of these correspond with the first commandment. So again, like I said, I'll start putting the number next to these. So number 2, have no other gods. Notice that's lowercase. This we find in Exodus 20, verse 3. Thou shalt have no other mighty ones before me. Actually, I'm going to read the supporting scriptures also. Let's jump back to number 1 real quick. So supporting scriptures, we got Deuteronomy 5:6. Let's see, Deuteronomy 5, verse 6. And just for reference, I am reading out of the Restoration Study Bible. I will probably jump from version to version. I use really 3 different ones. I use this, I use the scriptures, and I use New King James, sometimes NASB. So Deuteronomy 5, verse 6. I am Yahweh, thy Elohim, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt from the house of bondage. All right, now we can jump on to number 2. Have no other gods. Exodus 20, verse 3. Thou shalt have no other mighty ones before me. So supporting scripture, Deuteronomy 5, verse 7. Thou shalt have no other mighty ones before me. It's a commandment. And we know that the Father's word never changes. He does not change. He is the same. His word remains the same. And he cannot lie. So we also have 2 Kings 17:35. 17:35. 35. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask. I can't really watch the chat. I mean, I can turn it on. All right, we got 2 people. Shalom, sisters. I'll try to pay attention to the chat a little bit. But anyone, if you have questions, feel free to send me a message on any platform. All right, so 2 Kings 17, verse 35, with whom Yahweh had made a covenant and charged them, saying, You shall not fear other mighty ones, nor bow yourselves to them, nor serve them, nor sacrifice to them. So what happened when Moses came down the mountain? They were worshiping a golden calf. So, I mean, this includes idols, people. Ezekiel 20, verse 7. Then said I unto them, Cast ye away every man the abominations of his eyes, and defile not yourselves with the idols of Egypt. I am Yahweh your Elohim. So far, really not that difficult. Shalom, Carly. The Messiah told us that these things are not a burden. It's really, if you want to put it in simple terms, it's really morals. They're basic human morals. As we get deeper into this, that'll be more evident, especially when we get into love thy neighbor. I understand that coming out of the world and into the truth can be difficult. It takes some getting used to. Some of us, it's easier. Certain things were very easy for me because I was tired of living in lies. But there's things that are going to be challenging for all of us. That's why we need to rely on the Father's word and his word alone. And make sure that people we are associating with also rely on the Father's word. Now, we're all going to make mistakes. We need to be open to correction. Also, not easy for some people. I always look for, call it constructive criticism. That's what the world uses. I am always willing to take correction, but it must be through the word, not through opinions. Now, within our, we have a community of brothers and sisters. For the most part, everybody is open to correction. For the most part, like I said, there's things we're all going to struggle with. We need to be there to edify each other and not knock each other down. That is what the church does. That is what the world does. We need to be set apart from all that. I know those of you in the truth know this, but it's always a good refresher to hear this. It's good for me. It's good for all of us. So number 3, Elohim is one. So Deuteronomy 6:4. Hear, O Israel, Yahweh our Elohim is one Yahweh. So, I mean, it really goes with 1 and 2. Our Father is one. There is no other. So we have Mark 12:29. It's a good thing I highlighted all these. I'm actually going to read verse 30 also, because it refers to I believe we find it in Deuteronomy. And Yahshua answered him, the first of all the commandments is, Hear, O Israel, Yahweh our Elohim is one Yahweh. So that's what we just read. In verse 30, and thou shalt love Yahweh thy Elohim with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind, and with all thy strength. This is the first commandment. Everything we do should honor the Father. Next we have John 17:3. John 17:3. And this is life eternal, that they might know thee, the only true Elohim, and Yahshua Messiah, whom thou hast sent. Next, we have 1 Corinthians 8:4. 1 Corinthians 8. I gotta remember to put my phone on Do Not Disturb when I do this. Okay, 1 Corinthians 8:4. As concerning, therefore, the eating of those things that are offered in sacrifice unto idols, we know that an idol is nothing in the world, and that there is none other Elohim but one. So a lot of these talk about, you see, they'll reference the other commandments. And we find this all throughout Scripture, New Testament and Old Testament. And I understand the Scripture about the blind leading the blind, and that is so true, because we can read this to people that are still stuck in the church, and they won't see it. They won't see it. It's, that just confirms the Father's word is true. Okay, next, Galatians 3:20. Now a mediator is not a mediator of one, but Yahweh is one. Most of these are pretty straightforward. James 2:19. 19. Thou believest that there is one Elohim, thou doest well. The devils also believe and tremble. Fear Yahweh, coming up on number 5. That's the only fear we should have, is fear of what the Father is capable of doing to us if we do not obey him. And then we have Jeremiah 11:4. Okay. I'm going to read verse 3 also. And say thou unto them, Thus saith Yahweh, Elohim of Israel, Cursed be the man that obeyeth not the words of this covenant, which I commanded your fathers in the day that I brought them forth out of the land of Egypt, from the iron furnace, saying, Obey my voice, and do them, according to all which I command you. So shall you be my people, and I will be your Elohim. So who are Yahweh's people? Those that obey. Just read it. Yes, I hear you. The church definitely is run by Satan. And yes, there are some churches, some pastors, actually more than some, talking about all the prosperity preachers and Joel Osteen, Kenneth Copeland. They, I truly believe, are doing it for attention, money, fame. That's why they do it. Then you get the smaller churches that they're just blinded because they're not in covenant. The Father is not revealing it to them. And those are the ones I'm trying to reach. Not saying the other ones can't be pulled out, because Yahweh can do anything. Okay. So number 4. I'm actually not familiar with that name. I'll have to check that out. Number 4, love Yahweh. Deuteronomy 6:5. And thou shalt love Yahweh thy Elohim with all thine heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy might. That's everything we have, brothers and sisters. We put our trust in Yahweh alone, not man, not our own understanding, not our opinions. Everything that is in his word is all that we should be concerned with, especially in these times. Because we do know time is growing very short. So we have Matthew 22:37. to 22:37. Joshua said unto him, Thou shalt love Yahweh thy Elohim with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy mind. Okay. I'll have to take a look. I like to set eyes on who to look out for. So thank you for that. Mark 12:30-33. I believe my wife added to this one. I think it was Mark 12:30 was the original one we found. But we decided to add the other two verses because, well, you'll see why. So we read this earlier for number 3. So verse 30, and thou shalt love Yahweh thy Elohim with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy mind, and with all thy strength. This is the first commandment. And the second is namely this, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. There is none other commandment greater than these. And the scribe said unto him, Well, teacher, thou hast said the truth, for there is one Elohim, and there is none other but he. And to love him with all the heart, and with all the understanding, and with all the soul, and with all the strength, and to love his neighbor as himself is more than all whole burnt offerings and sacrifices. That's quickly becoming some of my favorite verses right there. Of course, I have many. The more I read the Father's Word, I get lost in it sometimes. My sleep schedule confirms that. All right, so Luke 10:27. Okay. And he answering said, Thou shalt love Yahweh thy Elohim with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and with all thy strength, and with all thy mind, and thy neighbor as thyself. So it's just confirmation after confirmation all throughout the whole word. 2 Kings 23, verse 25. Dun, dun, dun. Back to the front. Okay, 2 Kings. Second Kings. All right, 23, 25. And like unto him was there no king before him that turned to Yahweh with all his heart, and with all his soul, and with all his might, according to all the law of Moses. Neither after him arose there any like him. Deuteronomy 10:12-13. And now, Israel, what doth Yahweh thy Elohim require of thee, but to fear Yahweh thy Elohim, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve Yahweh thy Elohim with all thy heart, with all thy soul, to keep the commandments of Yahweh and his statutes, which I command thee this day for thy good. And we have Joshua 22:5. One book that I have not dug very deep into, and I'm starting to read it, and it's pretty awesome. Verse 5, but take diligent heed to do the commandments and the law which Moses, the servant of Yahweh, charged you to love Yahweh your Elohim, and to walk in all his ways, and to keep his commandments, and to cleave unto him, and to serve him with all your heart and with all your soul. Shalom, brother. Number 5, fear Yahweh. So we just so Deuteronomy 10:20. We were just over there. Thou shalt fear Yahweh thy Elohim, him shalt thou serve, and to him shalt thou cleave, and swear by his name. So we aren't supposed to take oaths to anyone or anything but Yahweh. If we do take an oath, I don't remember exactly what scripture it is, but if we do take an oath, it must be to his name. Because if we swore on somebody else's name or something else, that would be following other gods. And that's violation of number 2. So Deuteronomy 6:13 for supporting scripture. Thou shalt fear Yahweh thy Elohim, and serve him, and shall swear by his name. I'll read 14 also. Ye shall not go after other mighty ones of the mighty ones of the people which are round about you. So that's just confirmation. So I always tell everybody, when you're reading scripture, you want witnesses. Witnesses are found all throughout the prophets, New Testament, Old Testament, the law. It's all throughout the whole word. And that's what the commandments are. It's confirmation after confirmation. The word law shows up in most versions just over 400 times. So that's not something that we are supposed to be forgetting, according to what the church says. So everlasting covenant is the Father's word. Okay, we have Ecclesiastes 12:13. Another book I would like to start digging into further. Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear Elohim and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. This has multiple meanings, hearing out a whole matter. If there's we see people come in the TikTok lives all the time calling us Pharisees and things like that when they don't stay and listen to the whole matter. So, we walking towards covenant may slip up on these from time to time, but the church, they just blatantly disregard almost all of this. Not something I recommend. Joshua 24:14. Here. Now therefore fear Yahweh and serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the mighty ones which your fathers served, and the other side of the flood and in Egypt, and serve ye Yahweh. Don't be unequally yoked with people, especially those doing willful sin. We should be nowhere near them. Excuse me. All right, so let's see. Deuteronomy 13:4. Ye shall walk after Yahweh your Elohim, and fear him, and keep his commandments, and obey his voice, and ye shall serve him and cleave unto him. Again, confirmation after confirmation. All right, the last one for today. Number 6, sanctify Yahweh's name. Leviticus 22:32. I'm going to read 33 also. Neither shall ye profane my holy name, but I will be hallowed among the children of Israel. I am Yahweh, which hallow you, that brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your Elohim. I am Yahweh. As we go on, we will see that these commandments are for Israel. They're not for the world. Now, people can come out of the world and into covenant, but this book is written for Israel because we are called to be set apart from the world. Okay, let's go to Leviticus 10:3. A lot of this stuff is going to repeat and sound the same. That's how we know it's confirmation. And I actually don't have this one highlighted. Then Moses said unto Aaron, This is it that Yahweh spake, saying, I will be sanctified in them that come nigh me, and before all the people I will be glorified. And Aaron held his peace. Let me just highlight this one real quick. I got a lot of highlighting going on in many different Bibles, so I'm trying to color code everything. It goes well sometimes. Sometimes I forget. But Leviticus 18:20. Another one that I did not. Actually, this one does not really. Oh, 18:21. Sorry. I was going to say that one doesn't sound right. We're not there yet. We're not at that one yet. But let me highlight this real quick. All right, Leviticus 18:21. And thou shalt not let any of thy seed pass through the fire to Moloch, neither shalt thou profane the name of thy Elohim. I am Yahweh. Yes, sister, absolutely. Highlights are good. And I love this eSword on my computer here because, as you can see, you can do notes and you can highlight in there also. It's very useful. And the last one we have, I have this highlighted. I don't remember why. Leviticus 20, verse 8. I guess we'll find out why. I don't know. Okay, Leviticus 20, verse 8. And you shall keep my statutes and do them. I am Yahweh, which sanctify you. So, like I said before, he is the only one that can change us. We go through the Messiah. He is our high priest. He is our mediator. But the Father ultimately changes us through his Spirit. This is why we need to do what he says. That's all I have for today. We'll go through, my wife and I are going through a few a day. We didn't do any today. A lot went on today, and there was, I don't know, I'm just tired. It's time for some rest. I don't know if I want to bed right now, but because I'll be up at 2 in the morning. But I thank you all for whoever stayed to listen. Feel free to share it out. Come back next time. I will, like I said, I'm not going to do a schedule. Just as I see fit. I will share. It'll probably be once a week. But I just want to go through. We're going to go through all 613 of them, and then people can discern which ones are for them. Right now, the ones we read are for all of us so far, all of Israel. You're welcome. Thank you for being here. I love you all. Have a good rest of your night, and I'll see you next time. Shalom.